Welcome to part 2 of lesson 7. In part 2, we will focus on writing. Read the craft question with me as I read it aloud. How does paraphrasing evidence work? Today, we will practice paraphrasing evidence from the text. To start us off, think back to our last craft lesson. What are the two types of evidence commonly used when researching a topic? Did you say quotations and paraphrase? If so, give yourself a pat on the back. Let's make sure you have the materials you need to be successful. Do you have your journal and something to write with? You may also have a copy of our text, We Are the Ship. If you need to, pause the screen and get your materials ready. On the screen is the paraphrased evidence anchor chart that we created in our previous lesson. Find your notes that include this chart. Pause the screen to find your notes. You are going to review the characteristics and purposes of paraphrased evidence on your own. Pause the screen or look in your notes and review these two columns now. Thinking back to what you know about direct quotations, what is the biggest difference between paraphrased evidence and directly quoted evidence? Share with someone if you're working with a partner now. Paraphrased evidence is written in the author's own words and order, while a direct quotation is written word for word from the original source. We have studied how Kadir Nelson, the author of We Are the Ship, paraphrased the information. He took others' ideas and paraphrased it. And today, we are going to extend our understanding of paraphrased evidence by analyzing some more places where it's paraphrased, and also you are going to try out paraphrasing. We will read an excerpt from We Are the Ship and then write a sample paraphrase to meet the characteristics on this anchor chart. Right? So, we are going to begin by creating a chart on a clean page in your journal. So open up your journal to a clean page, and you are going to copy this title down, Steps for Writing a Paraphrase. I'm going to model all of these steps, and as I do, you're going to record them on this chart. So let's get the chart set up. Open up to that clean page and write Steps for Writing a Paraphrase. Do that now. Okay, the very first step when writing a paraphrase is to read the passage. All right, so you can write that step down now. After we read the passage, the next thing we're going to do is cover that passage and list the key points that we remember. So you can also write the second step for paraphrasing in your notes now. Okay, I'm going to move into showing an excerpt from page 23 on the screen. If you have your text, you can open to page 23 now. An excerpt from page 23 of We Are the Ship is highlighted in yellow on the screen. It shows the different realities Negro League baseball players faced while traveling to games. Let's get to paraphrasing this section. Listen as I do step 1 and then step 2. Step 1, read the passage. All of that traveling would wear on you. Many times the only sleep we got was on the bus, but that could be hard. Because we had to take the back roads to get to some of those little towns. And they were so bumpy, they'd have us bouncing around the bus like popcorn on a hot stove. fastest we could go was about 35 to 40 miles an hour. If the driver got sleepy, a couple of the guys on the team would take turns driving the bus. To pass the time, we played cards or sang old Negro spirituals or barbershop numbers. Okay, the next step, cover the passage and make a list of the key points from memory. All right, so I read it, and now I'm going to take that passage away, and I am going to write a list of those key points from my memory. Okay, so I'm going to write them up here, and you can see as I do that. I'm going to title this Key Points and underline it. All right, so I remember that the players drove if the bus driver fell asleep. So I'm going to write that here. Players drove if the bus driver fell asleep. Okay, so I have that on my paper. And now I need to remember another key point. I remember that sleeping on the bus was hard because it was so bumpy. Sleeping on the bus was hard because it was so bumpy. Let's see if I remember anything else. The players, they entertained one another to keep each other busy. So let me write that here. Okay, so now I've done the first two steps. I've read the passage, and then I covered the passage, and I made a list of the key points from memory. Now, we are going to move to the third step. The third step is to write the key ideas into a sentence or into a paragraph. Okay, so now I'm going to move into doing that. As I do this, I'm going to want to make sure that I go back up here and I include the title, the author, and the page number of the original source. That's really important to do when you're paraphrasing, because remember, you don't want to plagiarize or to take someone else's work as your own. All right? I also want to make sure that I'm really thinking through these other key points. Am I restating in different words? Am I using different word order or sentence structure? And am I conveying a similar meaning to that original text excerpt that we read highlighted on page 23? Okay, so let me do this now, and you can watch as I write my paraphrase. According to page 23 of We Are the Ship. Okay, so here I included that because it's important to ensure you have the title, the author, and page number. So I have that on my screen. So according to page 23 of We Are the Ship, now I want to say the author, Kadir Nelson, explains that life on the road was tough because, now I'm going into those key points, because getting enough sleep was hard. Sleeping on the bus was hard. So you can see where I'm using my key points to help me write my paraphrase. Here I'm stating the key ideas in my own words, while conveying a similar idea to the original source. Okay, I'm going to do the same with some more details. Let me talk about the players. So players had to sleep. I want to talk about them sleeping on the bus, but they were constantly, what do you think I'm going to say? Constantly bounced around because of the rough roads. Okay, so here is my sample paraphrase. Put it under the screen for you to see. That is our step 3. So now there's one more step we're going to move to, and that is step 4. You can jot step 3 and step 4 right here. I'm going to underline them. Step 3 and step 4. You could jot them down now on your notes page. Did you get them? All right, step 4. Check the paraphrase against the original text. All right, we want to ensure that the words and sentence structures are different, but those ideas need to remain the same. All right, so we're going to keep this up on the screen. All right, you can see my paraphrase. And now I'm going to bring back that original text that we had in yellow. And I want to check my ideas, my paraphrase against this original text. I'm going to reread the original text and my rewritten paraphrase. And as I do, you have a job. Your job is to use the characteristics chart, and I want you to think, did I meet all of those characteristics with my new paraphrase? All right, so there's your characteristics chart. Here is my rewritten paraphrase, and now I'm going to reread that section of the text. All of that traveling would wear on you. Many times, the only sleep we got was on the bus. But that could be hard because we had to take the back roads to get to some of those little towns. And they were so bumpy, they'd have us bouncing around the bus like popcorn on a hot stove. Fastest we could go was about 35 to 40 miles an hour. If the driver got sleepy, a couple of the guys on the team would take turns driving the bus. To pass the time, we played cards or sang old Negro spirituals or barbershop numbers. Now I'm going to go read my paraphrase. According to page 23 of We Are the Ship, Kadir Nelson explains that life on the road was tough because getting enough sleep was hard. Players had to sleep on the bus, but they were constantly bounced around because of the rough roads. Okay, let's see. If you think I met these characteristics, you're going to give a thumbs up or thumbs down each time I say one. Did I restate in different words ideas from another source? Thumb up or thumb down? All right, thanks. I think I did too. Did I use different word order, sentence structure from the original source? Yeah, it doesn't look like I copied the words. Did I convey a similar meaning to the original source in my paraphrase? Do you think I did? All right, and the last one. Did I include the title, the author, and page number from the original source in my paraphrase? Well, I see the page number, I see the title, and I see the author. So yes, I did do that. So let's bring it all together. In your own words, explain why and how you paraphrase text evidence. You're going to answer this as a quick write in your journal. Do that now. All right, keep that answer in your head as we move on with this focusing question arc. You're going to have lots more practice at paraphrasing. In the next lesson, we are going to dive more into text structure, and we are going to look at fourth inning, our fourth chapter of the text, and we are going to continue to compare and contrast those text structures. If you have any questions, remember, you can email us at info@greatminds.org. And as always, thank you for learning with me today. Take care, and I will see you soon.